This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of our series, Think Like a Scientist, Evidence-Based Decision-Making. In this episode, titled Forming Hypotheses, From Questions to Testable Ideas, we'll explore what a hypothesis really is and how it fits into the scientific method. Get ready to transform your curiosity into testable ideas. Let's dive in. One of the most dangerous sentences in history is, "The numbers speak for themselves." A city bans alcohol and deaths fall. A factory upgrades machines and profits rise. A new policy starts and crime drops. But here's the twist. All three stories can be true and still not be causal. Here's where thinking like a historian gets interesting. You almost never get to run the perfect experiment. You can't rewind the 1854 cholera outbreak and try it again without removing the pump handle. You can't rerun Prohibition in a parallel United States where the law never passed. Yet historians still make strong claims about why things happened, why revolutions ignite when they do, why empires collapse, why social movements suddenly gain traction after years of failure. To do this, they lean on patterns across time and space, comparing similar cities with different laws, tracing sequences of events, and hunting for plausible mechanisms in letters, speeches, and statistics. You'll notice they ask not just what changed, but what else changed at the same time, and who benefits from which story of cause and effect. Historians also worry about false trails. Some patterns are like storm clouds that only look connected from where you stand. A revolution and a bad harvest, a new law and a sudden drop in crime, a war and an economic boom. The trick is deciding which pairings are meaningful and which are coincidences. That's where counterfactuals, reasoned, what if this key piece had been different questions come in. By imagining nearby worlds with one element changed, then checking those against other cases and sources, historians pressure test whether a factor was truly doing causal work or just passing through the scene. So how do historians actually move from "this pattern looks interesting" to "this factor helped drive what happened"? They borrow tools from places you might not expect: statistics, epidemiology, even economics, but adapt them to messy human stories. One move is to ask, if this relationship is real, how strong and how consistent is it across different cases? That's where something like the correlation coefficient is a first probe, not a verdict. A near-zero value might look like nothing is going on, but historians know to check whether the link could be curved, delayed, or only active beyond a threshold. A price spike might only spark riots once wages fall below a certain line. A political speech might matter only in provinces where a party network already exists. They also care deeply about sequence. Austin Bradford Hill's temporality idea, cause has to come before effect, gets translated into close timelines. Which law passed first? When pamphlets circulated? How fast rumors traveled? Sometimes the ordering alone overturns a beloved story. If urban crime was already falling years before a new policy, that policy doesn't get to take full credit. Another move is comparison. The Broad Street pump story is dramatic, but it's only truly persuasive when set next to other outbreaks in other cities with different water systems. Similarly, the reanalysis of Prohibition used some states as rough controls to see how alcohol-related deaths shifted where restrictions bit harder versus where they were weaker. The point isn't to find a perfect twin world, it's to ask, when this factor changes more here than there, do outcomes shift in parallel? Historians then layer in mechanisms and motives. If a government insists a policy saved lives, they look for hospital records, private memos, opposition newspapers. Who gains from claiming X caused Y? Who quietly disagreed at the time? Causal stories are political assets. Tracking who spends them is part of the evidence. And crucially, they almost never stop at a single driver. Instead of hunting for the cause of a war or reform, they sketch a bundle. structural pressures, triggers, and amplifiers. A bad harvest might raise tension. A new ideology might supply language for anger. A specific riot might light the fuse. The work is to show how those strands interlocked, not to crown one of them the sole author of history. You don't need a lab coat to practice this. Start with something stubborn in your own life, a side project that never gets finished, a workout streak that keeps breaking, a friend who replies days late. Instead of asking, "Why is this so hard?" scan for patterns you could count. Days of the week, time of day, number of tasks on your plate, how many notifications are on your phone. Then, zoom in on one lever you can move. For a stalled project, it might be number of uninterrupted blocks per week. For late replies, messages longer than 3 sentences. You're looking for knobs, not diagnoses. Here's where you shift from noticing to betting. Turn the pattern into a concrete sentence about tomorrow, not a story about yesterday. Name a threshold that would surprise you. If I cap messages at 5 lines for 2 weeks, at least 70% will get answered within 24 hours. Quietly ask yourself, what result would actually make me doubt my hunch? Build your statement around that uncomfortable line. As tools like AI and shared datasets spread, precise hypotheses become more powerful and more necessary. Soon, software might suggest dozens of plausible claims from the same dataset in seconds. Your edge won't be generating ideas, but pruning them. Which claim is risky enough to be informative, yet grounded enough to matter? Think of weather forecasting. Many models run, but forecasters must choose which patterns deserve attention, resources, and real-world decisions. Treat this like learning a new language. At first, you'll speak in clumsy sentences. Then your "if X, then Y" thoughts will become automatic. Your challenge this week: when something puzzles you, write one risky, measurable prediction about it, then act on it. Over time, you're not just solving problems, you're training a scientist's reflex. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!